Matchmaker.fm connects podcasters and guests. Welcome to Matched, the show where we talk to some of the most incredible guests available for an interview right now. I'm your host, James Mulvany, founder of Matchmaker.fm, and this is Matched.
It's Ben Sorensen here, and you can find me on Matchmaker FM.
How's it going, Ben?
It is absolutely fantastic. The world is a wonderful place, and there are plenty of stories to tell and lots of exciting things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very interesting year. If you could just start off by answering a couple of icebreakers. This is how we normally start. So first of all, which cartoon character do you think, if you could pick any one that you would become real, who would it be?
Oh, what a great question. I reckon I would like to see Rick Sanchez be real, but then part of me is also incredibly scared by that, having seen all the episodes of Rick and Morty. So I feel like I would still, even though it could mean total annihilation, go with Rick Sanchez.
Okay, cool. And if you could pick a fight with one horse-sized duck or a dozen duck-sized horses, who would you go for?
I would go. I love ducks. They're one of my favorite things to eat. So I think that I would probably be curious about the horse-sized duck, because if I did win, then I would have a horse-sized duck to eat.
That would be pretty epic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, can you imagine marinating that over a long? Like, how would you even do that?
I don't know. You'd have to do it in like a bath or something.
Yeah, you would. You would. You'd have to do like one of those hungy things and, dig it out and do it properly. So I think, I would go with that. Although tiny little horse skewers would be quite nice as well. Although when you have a fight, doesn't mean you have to eat the loser. Like, there's no rules that say that you have to eat the loser. Just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, and also we're not condoning violence here either.
No. This is purely hypothetical.
All right, thanks very much. So there we go. Those are the icebreakers, Ben. If you could start off then just by introducing yourself, just tell us a bit about what you do, who you are.
So I like to think of myself as a little bit different, and I know a lot of people say that, but there's two different sides to my world. One of them is, I call it using my brain, and the other side is having fun. So the using my brain side has me as a marketing strategist, specializing in media and entertainment, helping a lot of businesses grow some different ideas. And it's all about brain work and thinking and thought leading. I'm a big fan of philosophy and science and, environmental science and a lot of really cool stuff like that. So there's that side. Then the other side is my comedy work. So I host a lot of events around Australia and, none internationally thanks to COVID. But doing a lot of work like that, doing some radio and TV, lots of voiceovers, lots of stuff like that. So, keeps me entertained. I know I get to use my brain and have fun as well. So I normally say brain for hire and voice for hire as well.
Yeah, I think the second part of it sounds a lot of fun. Doing radio, TV, podcasts. It's all great fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's the thing I love most about it is the range of awesome people that you get to meet that you would never in a million years get to meet any other way. So in my previous life, I did a lot of I had a syndicated radio show, and that took me all over Australia with all different events, all different people from all walks of life. And it was just so fascinating to get an insight into their stories. And I think that's where podcasting really picks up on that, where you've got an opportunity to expand that story and delve deeper into it because you've got more than 2 minutes to talk about something. You can actually have a genuine conversation with another person and really get to know their story. And I think that's the amazing thing about podcasting.
So is that a kind of comparison, like of podcasting versus radio? Because, having worked in both myself and also, the fact that I run two different companies, one is more radio focused and obviously one is more podcasting focused, that's the question I get asked all the time. Like, what is the difference between podcasting and radio? Which format's better? Is there going to be is podcasting overtaking radio? What's your perspective on this?
Well, in Australia, I would see that we're seeing declining terrestrial radio numbers, and we're seeing a larger proportion of the population move across to streaming services and podcasting. So all of this on-demand audio content. And given that a lot of it is available, particularly with podcasting, for free, I think that that's also one reason why it's doing so well, particularly when we look at countries that were in lockdown. We see that if you don't have a regular pattern in your world, podcasting is perfect for you. And you can dive deep on the topics that you want to hear as opposed to being force-fed something. But having said that, I see that radio still has a place, or the concept of a linear programmed audio timeline still has a place in things like the discovery of new music, the discovery of new concepts or things that you may not know. So I think that there will always be a place for radio. Will it be as profitable and as popular as it used to be? I'm not sure. We're seeing in Australia a lot of larger radio networks investing in podcasts and podcasting companies. And we also see a shift, which in Australia is probably 5 to 8 years maybe behind the US, of advertisers solidly investing in the podcasting space with these known podcasting companies. So, I think there's a lot of room to move, and I think we're still settling to find out what the new normal is. And it's exciting because, the last time this happened, we were stressed that video would kill the radio star. Yeah. And now we're living through our own version of that. And it's brilliant. It's really exciting. There's always opportunities out there. It's just about being switched on and, working out what your offering is and finding your target market for your content. And I think that's the most important difference between the two.
All right. Thanks for that, Ben. It's been really very interesting. So that leads me on nicely, actually, to the next question, which is, why did you join Matchmaker?
I actually thought it was Tinder to start with, and then realised that it just worked out perfectly.
It is Tinder, but for podcasters.
I know, but it's actually really great because I can sit down and, PR is a very interesting niche. So a lot of people don't have access to top-level PR people. And when you're looking at ways of interacting with different people and getting your story out there, or talking to different markets about what you do, podcasts are a really great way to do that. Because if you've got something that's not stereotypically normal, or something that's a little bit different or a little bit more in-depth or quirky, podcasting's amazing. And Matchmaker enables me to go through and meet podcast hosts from all different countries, all different languages, all different subject headings. It's so amazing. I've spoken to some great people all over the world and discovered also from being on them some really interesting podcasts, be they for comedy or business or any of the particular niches that I feel like I would like to talk about as talent, or I have skill or ability to talk about. And the community has been so warm and so inviting in working together to create some really great content for the listeners.
So was the idea for you really as a way to use it as a PR tool to kind of raise awareness of your personal brand then?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a great way to expose me to new listeners and new people, and to hone those skills in telling my story, and to work with a range of other people. And I think it's not just about being on a podcast and you go, okay, cool, that's done. It's about meeting those people and going, hey, this is what I can do. Let me show you what I can do. Because there's quite a few people that I've met on Matchmaker. I've been on their podcast. They're absolutely wonderful people. And we still keep in contact. So I'm actually building a network of friends and really great people and very skilled resources
Yeah.
that I can talk to very easily through Matchmaker. I normally go on there while I'm watching TV and I've got a cup of tea. And on my phone, I'm looking through and having a quick listen on the Bluetooth headphones and going, yeah, that sounds really interesting. I see what they're doing there. And I reckon this is how I can pitch it to fit in with their format. And, it's really wonderful. So I love it. It's like a whole bunch of new friends that I haven't met yet.
So what would you say, is a good strategy? If someone's new to the platform, what advice would you give to them to actually kind of start getting some bookings on different podcasts? What did you do when you sort of first signed up?
Make sure your profile's filled out. Make sure it's really, really solid. And don't embellish. Make sure that it's straight to the point. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is what I'm actually skilled at talking about. And be really straight to the point. Because as from the other side of the fence, as a podcaster and as a radio host, I don't want the marketing guff. Just give me exactly what you do and be totally honest about it. If you're a radio veteran and you've been on commercial radio for the last 30 years, put that down. But if you've done, if you haven't done particularly much, don't try and talk it up. Just focus on what you're really, really good at and be really clear about it. Also, utilize the video function as well, because there's on the paid membership for Matchmaker, which is really great, there's a video function as well where you can actually talk about yourself. And people can get a feel for who you are, what you sound like, what your setup looks like as well. And that's really, really important. So you can see my big mic here. Not everyone's got that, and it's important to make sure you've got some really great gear and communicate that through your profile.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Like, even if you just invest in a kind of $50 USB microphone, it's going to make you sound 10 times better than just relying on like a built-in, mic in your laptop, which unfortunately still a lot of people do.
I don't know why laptop manufacturers still put microphones in there. Do you know? Because they're never any good.
They're just about okay, I suppose, if you're on a Skype call or something. But, certainly if you're going to be a guest, it's worth investing in a decent mic. I agree.
Yeah. But I also see that as a sign of respect as well. So I want to make sure that your podcast is the best as it can be, because I respect your art form and what you're doing. So I'm going to do my bit and invest in good internet connection, give you my full attention, have a great microphone, nice headphones, and do that to the best of my ability as a courtesy to you and a thank you for having me on your show.
All right. Cheers, Ben. So could you tell us has there been any interviews that have particularly stood out that you've done recently?
Oh, yes. I have a lot of the Matchmaker interviews that I do are all on the media page on my website, which I love to, and it sounds horrible, but I love to go there and have a look myself at some of the great friends that I've made over my time on Matchmaker. And there has been, on the Matchmaker side of it, there's been some really amazing people come through. I had My Way of Thinking was absolutely wonderful. And I that's only just been released this week. And it was just such a wonderful chat, not only about me, but an exchange of ideas and a wonderful journey that we went on for 20 minutes about not only the topic we were talking about, which was my autism, but also the cultural differences between Australia and the UK. And I think that was just so wonderful. There was also another one, which I thought was just really, really funny. Guilty by Association was another one. And they were just two guys. Oh, well, there was three guys from, I think it was Texas. And they were just so much fun. And that was one of the most entertaining 1-hour podcast recordings that I've done in my entire life. There was some very bad language on there, but it was just so much fun. So For me, they were the two gauntlets, the two extremes of interviews that I've done on Matchmaker, both equally wonderful and both with showing a different side of what I do and my personality. And there's been quite a few in between all of that that has showed different light and shade of what I talk about, and also taught me so much as well.
It's interesting the comment you made then about having sort of like multiple hosts, because I tend to agree with you. There's most podcasts I'm on or I sort of have interviewed for, it's just been one-on-one, which is fine. I like that format. It works really well. But there have been a couple where it's been like two people interviewing me, or I think one case, three people interviewing me. In fact, I think I had three Aussie guys interviewing me once. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but it was great because they just had such a good dynamic. Obviously they were just mates in real life, so you kind of just felt like it was almost like you're in the pub or in a bar, and you just kind of got chatting to a group of guys, and it was just it felt so natural.
Well, I think that depends on the format of the podcast. We have some of these deep dive interview style podcasts, of which there's quite a few, and it's hard to get a solid story when there's 4 or 5 people competing for question time. But if it's a sort of around the fireplace at the pub conversation, and it's more jovial, multiple hosts is absolutely brilliant. And I think that that's just so much fun because you've got so much more energy to bounce off and so many more quick-witted humans. It's just keeps you on your toes and it's very exciting. I did another podcast called Human Cogs, and that's an Australian one, and there was a amazing business leader and a prominent psychologist interviewing as well. So it was really interesting there to get educated questions from 2 different disciplines on the same topic. So I think as long as there's value there and it relates to the format, I find it really interesting to have multiple humans.
Okay, cool. And then just sort of a fun question to finish up with. If you could choose any podcast in the world that you were going to be a guest on, which one would it be?
Do you know what? I Googled this because there is a really amazing human, and she's actually on Matchmaker, and it's Whitney Cummings. I think she is just such a intelligent, funny human, and I would gladly cancel most of what's on in my diary to get on that podcast and have a chat with her. I just think she's just so clever. And I really admire smart, driven, intelligent humans that also happen to be genuinely funny. So well done, Whitney.
Great. Okay, Ben, thanks very much for your time today. Just to wrap up, if people want to find out more about you, how can they get in touch? How can they see what you're doing?
I am Ben Sorensen 1 on everything because some other horrible person took Ben Sorensen. So bensorensen1.com, and you can check out the podcasts I've been on, some of the shows that I do, and some of the other stuff there. So Ben Sorensen 1 on Instagram, and you can watch me drink cups of coffee and see the food I eat and all the gigs I do. So check it out.
Nice one, Ben. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There is an easier way to get booked onto more podcasts as a guest. Join matchmaker.fm for free today and start making connections with podcasters who are looking for guests just like you.